Hello everybody, Matt here on The Planet, and today we are talking about the Nike Vaporfly Next percent at over 500 kilometers. So with this particular pair of Vaporflies, we're now up to almost 600 kilometers actually, and I did a very interesting run of them yesterday, where I actually took these essentially ran a marathon distance, although all of that was not quite marathon pace. And at the end, I switched over the last 10k, switched over to a brand new pair of the Vaporfly Next Percent 2, which is actually my race day shoe for the upcoming Manchester Marathon. So I'm also going to give a comparison of that today, but I'm going to tell you what I've been using it for, what I think they can be used for, what the cost, what the feel is, how the wear and tear has been going on the shoe, and all that good stuff. So let's get into it. So like I say, I did an initial review of this shoe, and it's featured quite a lot in the videos that I've been doing on the channel recently, not focusing particularly on the shoe, but more for the actual workouts. It's one of the shoes I've been using for, and it just goes to show how versatile it is. It's pretty much been used for everything. So I bought this shoe back in October 2020, and I really didn't want to spend the £240 of what the price tag was on a shoe. I thought that was ridiculous for a pair of race shoes. Yes, okay, I'm training for marathons, and if I really want to get the best performance out of myself, I've got to go for the best shoes, or one of the best shoes. The first pair I bought, actually before these, was a pair that I bought from an online website. I can't remember the name of it, but in the end, basically they were fake. There was so much, when you looked at them, there was so much off on the shoes. It just wasn't right, and in reality, they actually sent me the wrong size as well. I was really disappointed with the customer service that I got from that, but these things happen. I think I'd actually pushed myself to spend £180 on any pair of footwear, which is, I think, ridiculous. But there we are anyway. Once that had gone, I'd already pushed myself to £180, and I decided I was actually going to go to Nike and actually buy the Vaporfly. And actually, I don't regret it at all. It is probably the best shoe I've got. So I won't really go into the basics about what the shoe is. Everybody knows it. It's, you know, it's a very light, fast racing shoe. It weighs about 220 grams. It's got the Zoom X foam, it's got a carbon plate, all that stuff, but I'm not going to go into that in detail because a lot of people out there already know that. So what have I used it for? I've used it for racing. I've raced half marathon distances, marathon distances, 10Ks and 5K PRs in this particular shoe. I've used it for track workouts, so interval sessions. Particularly in this training block, it's become more of a shoe that I've preferred to use for the long runs. Now, I probably wouldn't have used it so much in the training block if I didn't have another pair of shoes available to me. So I've also got another pair of Vaporflies there, and the reason is just because they break down really, really fast. They're a shoe designed for race day, not really for training. But what I'm trying to explain today is that you could probably get a lot more miles out of them than people think. So yesterday I ran this shoe for 32 kilometers, something like 2.5-3 hours running, and so I really tired out my legs, tired out the body, tired out the feet, and then when I finished that, I switched over to the new pair, just to see what the comparison like. And the reason why I did that is to see, you can see how much the foam squashes down, but it's like that in both shoes, and I just wanted to see what the difference was between an old pair and a new pair of shoes. At this kind of length. And of all the shoes that I've tried other pairs of shoes. I've got the Zoom Fly 3, and I've used those, a 1,000 mile shoe, and compared that to a brand new pair of Zoom Fly 3s, and there is noticeable difference, but it's not massive, and it's nowhere near the difference of feeling. This thing has softened up so much. However, I wouldn't have realised the difference in it, so it's obviously broken down, you know, quite a lot. I tend to run on the mid front of the shoe, so a 4-foot kind of striker, and you can see how much it's worn down there. Look at the soles. There's still tread pattern on there, And if you're running in the moisture, if you're running in water and in the damp, running through puddles and things like that, there's still ample amount of grip in it. It's a kind of rubber that they've made that it's obviously lightweight, but it actually grips really, really well on the wet surfaces, even though there isn't deep tread to cut through the water. Obviously, it is breaking down. You can see how much it's breaking down here on the back of the shoe. Now you're actually getting through the surface, the painted surface, and you're into like a really, really soft, like foamy stuff. But I mean, that doesn't really bother me too much. It's just amazing. I've been able to run 600 kilometers in the shoe, and it's still going. And I think I can get at least another 200 kilometers out of it, which I will do. I can still hit all the paces that I want to hit in this shoe. I've run this up to on the roads in kind of tempo runs at 4 minutes per kilometer. 3:30 to 4 minutes per kilometer on the track. It really is a massively versatile shoe, and say I'm about 80 kilos, and this is a UK size 8, US size 9. It's holding up really, really well, and I think people can get a lot more out of them. I don't think it's got the zip and the performance of a brand new pair of Vaporfly the Next%. And I think I only paid about £157 for these as well. So I would say if you're interested in a pair, you probably don't need to pay more than £160 for a pair of Vaporflies. You just got to keep looking, keep your eyes out. They're a size 8, so it's quite a popular size. This particular pair, last year I ran the Great North Run. It was a new route, quite tough at the end. Compared to what we used to, but I think at the time I ran about a 1:39.30. That was 7 seconds behind my actual PR for a half marathon. But then a month later, I ran this was straight after the weekend after I run the Chester Marathon. Actually, I ran the Silverstone half marathon and did run a 1:35.38. So this shoe at the moment does hold my PR, and I think at that point this shoe was probably up at around about 300, maybe 400 kilometers at that point. So you could probably still be setting your PRs in this shoe when you run up to 350, 400 kilometers. So from a price point of view, yes, they are very expensive, but like I said, you can get them at discounted prices. How do they compare against the Alphafly? So they're supposed to be the fastest shoes, so possibly they are, but are they that much faster than the Next%? The Next% are obviously lighter, they're easier to carry through a race. I would say for me, I prefer the Vaporfly. One of the main differences is the heel drop. The heel drop is 8mm rather than 4mm on the Alphafly. So there is that extra little bit of pull on your Achilles. It probably is something that you can get used to. And I think you see it with a lot of the professionals. There's a lot of runners there that are using the Vaporflies over the Alphaflies. And they're Nike sponsored athletes, so they'll have the choice to. Yeah, so there's my review on the Vaporfly Next% at 500 kilometers. There's a lot more running to do, I think, in the shoe, and I'm massively happy with it. And I think if anybody can try and get hold of a pair, try and get them at discounted prices, I think you'll be very happy with them. They definitely are a standout shoe, and much better than anything else that I've ever run in, I think. Yeah, so let me know what your favourite running shoe is, what your favourite race day shoe is. I'll be really interested to hear about it. If there's anything I've missed or anything you want to question me on at this kind of distance, then by all means drop us a comment in the comment section. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.